His family will never see him again.
Loved ones calling for an investigation into the death of 20-year-old Saifullah Musalet, a Tampa business owner killed while visiting family in the Middle East.
Saifullah was just a very rare soul. He was very loving, caring, and just like any other 20-year-old.
Family says Musalet owned a popular ice cream shop off Bruce B. Downs and was building a life in Tampa.
He wanted to be a businessman. Always, ever since he was young. He opened up that when he was planning on expanding, finding him a wife, having a family, and that was his dream, but it was just cut short.
His uncle tells News Channel 8 Musalet had traveled from Tampa to the Israeli-occupied West Bank to visit family. This past Friday, he was killed.
He was on their ancestral homeland, and he was trying to protect a piece of their land from being taken and stolen by illegal Israeli occupiers. But a mob of Israeli settlers ambushed them, surrounded them, and ambushed him and the two others that were with him, and they beat two of them to death.
Officials in Israel tell 8 on Your Side Musalet's death and the death of his friend are being looked into. Today, his family joined leaders with the Council on American Islamic Relations, urging the U.S. government to investigate, saying this attack is part of a larger pattern of violence against Palestinians.
Our government should have a reach to those who commit these atrocities to bring them to justice.
Members of CARE plan to speak with elected officials this week. They're also planning to hold a vigil in Musalet's memory on Saturday. Melissa Marino, 8 on Your Side.
Health officials confirmed one person has died from a flesh-eating bacteria in Hillsborough County. That bacteria normally lives in warm seawater. The Florida Department of Health says 11 cases have been reported this year statewide. 4 of those were deadly. Health officials recommend staying out of the water if you have an open. Happening today, Tampa City leaders will continue discussions on flooding and drainage concerns.
This comes after a meeting last night where officials told residents they're doing all they can to address aging infrastructure. Beth Rousseau live in the studio with the latest on this. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So today is actually the city's final community discussion about these drainage concerns. Mayor Castor says families really need to manage their expectations about how much can actually be done to deal with flooding. Some homeowners say that attitude isn't acceptable.
These 2 storms to show us that we were not prepared even a little. I think we still would have flooded. I don't think we would have flooded as badly in some places. So we're playing catch up here.
So videos and pictures show the way that water fills the streets and sometimes even flows into cars during not hurricanes necessarily, but even just heavy rainfalls in Tampa. Now, during these discussions, all city leaders, they lay out the lessons that were learned during last year's storm season and how they're hoping to prevent future drainage issues. They are moving forward with the controversial South Howard flood mitigation project, even though many business owners in the area are outspokenly opposed to the work. Mayor Castor says the community can also help prevent flooding.
Not blowing things down the storm drains. If you see something that's obstructing the storm drain and you can get it out, get it out. If you see an issue, call the city and report it so that we can come out and address it.
City's final meeting on this topic is at the TPD Rich House. That's off North Avon Avenue tonight. Starts at 6 o'clock for you.
Republican and Democratic state leaders are sharing very different perspectives on how Alligator Alcatraz is being run. And it comes as the Tampa Bay Times reports that hundreds of immigrants have ended up at the site with no criminal charges in the United States. 8 on Your Side investigative reporter Brittany Muller joins us now in studio with more. Brittany.
Josh, good evening. Democratic Congress members claim the detainees at Alligator Alcatraz are crammed into cages, getting their drinking water and brushing their teeth from the same place where they go to the bathroom. But Republican leaders say the state has gone above and beyond what's required of them. Same tour, different outlooks.
We went there, we got a tour of the intake areas, the medical tent, the mess hall, recreation, the sleeping quarters. Heck, I even laid down in one of the beds. and it was well run, well done by emergency services.
Republican Representative Michael Owen says he's impressed with Alligator Alcatraz, while Democratic Representative Maxwell Frost says every Floridian should be ashamed that taxpayer money is being used to fund what he calls an internment camp. They say they saw about 900 detainees inside, but did not get to speak to any.
What we saw in there is very simple. We saw humans being held in cages, 32 people per cage, 3 toilets in each cage for these 32 people, and their drinking water comes from the toilet. People are on the toilet, you can't drink water.
It comes after 5 state lawmakers were turned away after an unannounced visit and sued Governor DeSantis. The governor's office described the suit as dumb and frivolous.
You don't get to just show up with a bunch of protesters and break down a fence and break into a federal facility. That's never been allowed, and I'm not going to allow it on my watch.
One day after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was in Tampa touting the new model that will be used moving forward, NBC's Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker pressed her on the conditions that have been described as inhumane.
More than 30 people stuffed into a jail cell? They have a contrast. Well, I've been there, and I've seen these rooms that they are in. I wouldn't call them jail cells. I would call them a facility where they are held and that are secure facilities, but are held to the highest levels of what the federal government requires for detention facilities.
Democrats have called them cages, though. They say
I wish they would have said that back during the Biden administration and back when Democrats were in the White House and they were piling people on top of each other on cement floors and literally didn't have 2 feet to move.
Secretary Noem says since President Donald Trump has returned to office, there have been over 286,000 illegal immigrants who have been arrested, adding 70% of those individuals have either been convicted or have charges pending against them.
And Brittany, I know the Trump administration really wants to hold Alligator Alcatraz up as a model for the rest of the country. Tell me more about that.
Yes, Stacey. Secretary Noem says that she's already in talks with 5 Republican governors about using Alligator Alcatraz as a model on how those states can partner with the Trump administration. Noem says ultimately the goal is to double the capacity of ICE beds and make expedited deportation. So we'll continue to see how this unfolds.
Okay, thanks so much for that. If you have something you want Brittany to investigate, you can call that number right there on your screen. It's 1-800-338-0808.
Happening today, Hillsborough County leaders, they'll be holding a meeting to review their post-disaster recovery plan.
So they say the goal of this plan is to create a stronger community to move forward after a crisis. Alessandra Young joining us now live in Hillsborough County with those details. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey there, Avery and Deanne. This plan is part of a greater regional plan, and the county wants to hear from you as they're still working out those final details. It's been 15 years since Hillsborough County last developed a post-disaster redevelopment plan. And in that time, massive growth has changed the game. The county says more people and homes means more damage is experienced during storms, which requires a bigger response. They now want to hear from the community about the damage caused by last year's hurricanes.
We want them to tell us, like, you know, if they experience any type of flooding, wind damage, any type of inconsistencies with support. All those things make a difference for us to build a comprehensive plan for the county.
Funding to create the new plan is coming from a federal grant. Officials say the goal is to develop methods for the county to recover quicker following a disaster and help strengthen infrastructure. The Hillsborough plan will work in tandem with surrounding local governments when disaster strikes.
We come together along with Hernando County, Pinellas County, and the city of Tampa, and we make a regional plan to support one another.
The county hopes to roll out the new plan by the fall. Officials say input from the community is critical to make sure they get it right.
The big thing is to tell your story, share your story with us, and then that way we can take all that input and that feedback and make sure that this plan, make sure that this plan touches everybody.
The meeting is going to be held right here at Feeding Tampa Bay tonight, starting at 6:30, and it'll go until 8 o'clock or so. And if you can't show up in person, there are ways to go online and share your feedback and stories. I'm going to have all of those details posted on our website at WFLA.com. For now, live in Tampa, Alessandra Young, 8 on your side.